Okay, I know that I was a little rude the last video to Cardell. I apologize for that, but there are some organizational issues that we want to think about here. So first and foremost, we've got a little bit of information here. We should have a little bit more considering we should have a story of influence and a little more reason why we want to use these cards or these particular gods for the mojos. Here, describe why Ra's here. You can put a little bit of information here. Take one sentence here, and then add it here. Put it in the middle or something. One of the key things is to think about the rule of thirds. And yes, this is a rule of third, but this isn't a balanced version of it. This has a little bit more balance, except it's off to the left over here. And that kind of just makes the things fall over here. A little closer, but we could spread this out. This actually kind of notices, now that I look at it, I can see that this is the same thing that Steven's looking at. And it's that kind of concept where we should probably make individual cards. And if we want to do individual cards here, there's a lot of ways we can cheat it in actual PowerPoint. First things first, what I like to do is have a little bit of an idea of what I want to say. Just a quick paragraph, which is that whole idea of having that influencing story. From here, I can just copy and paste into my PowerPoint. Um, One of the key things I do also, I noticed that like Kayla and Steven actually had a theme set up, and that's awesome to get after it if you want to get that set up right off the bat. It's not needed right off the bat though when you're getting into it. Um, the layout is actually kind of crucial in terms of what you want to do. A lot of times, what I'll do is I'll think about what I want to kind of offer, and then I'll see if I can create a couple slides as a base tool, and then duplicate those on over and over. Um, of course, the title. This is a bogus adventure. Subtitle: Project One of One. Then Colin Blankenship. It depends on who your audience is. If you actually have a teacher here, professor, which is me, you could actually do the class design in bullshit. 101. Then that's a basic title, and I'm not going to add any imagery to it, but I am thinking about what I want to do next. Let's go ahead and just add a new slide. We can just hit new slide, and let's just give it a basic slide. If we go back into the tools, where was that slide layout, and we want to think about what we want to do. So this is the thing we want to think about is what we're going to talk about. Now this is a basic outline of a story. What I can do basically from this point on is actually say things like what I want. I want an intro, which is an intro to what the project is. This is not the cover slide, which is the first thing I already created. Slide. Basic BS I need. Any added information, so I hit tab, added BS. And then we want to go ahead and just add the summary, the closing statement. Sometimes you want a finale or an exit of some sort, that's fine. But for the most part here, we're looking at this, and that's kind of the idea. So if I can pull these things apart and probably rewrite these a little bit more to fit this profile, I would probably do certain things in here that change this up. I'll upload some other versions here in a little bit. But let me go ahead and continue going off this. Another thing we want to do is if we create a basic tool or a basic layout, so let's do an image. We'll do an image and a text. And so here, I'll say you want to collect an image, but I'll do an insert image. Now, here's another rule of thumb. When I'm actually working on a PowerPoint, I have all my images uploaded onto my Google Drive. So just like in my other class, I have some images that I want to use for a project we're doing in my 3D1 class. But let's go ahead and just grab some basic things off of this to say that this is the idea of what I'm after. So let's say that I want to use that image there, so I'll insert it. And the key thing on this one is that now the image is floating on there, just like Photoshop. I can scale it down, and that's awesome. But I want to have this format, and I want to have it fill up this whole space. And it's, Cordell, if you remember, this is basically the weapons rack that we worked on. So what I want to do here is I right-click, and I can actually go into crop image. I'm going to crop this down to where I get it into that box that I'm trying to manipulate it. the text box. There's that. Take that down a little bit. And now that I got it cropped, I got it placed where I want it. I can hit enter. And there it's sitting there. And now what I can do here is I go in here and I hit crop image. It's going to ask me to crop it again. I can move it around a little bit, but it's going to keep its location in the actual slide. So I can hit enter again, and now I'm focused on that. There's other tools in here which you can brighten, sharpen, and do all that other stuff. But at least at this point, you can start thinking about how I can copy and paste off of my document. Copy, paste, weapons rack, story. Alright, so here, now that I got this basic setup, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to duplicate it, duplicate slide, and now what I'm going to do is change continued. Alright, so now I'll go in here, I can do this little cool bit here, replace image. Go back to drive, it'll pop up back up more or less in the search I was in, and I'll go find an image that makes sense towards the rest of what I'm talking about. So let's say this battle axe. Let's see if it may kind of get tweaked a little bit, but it looks like it's okay. Now this text is, I think it's high up, so what I can do is just scrunch this down a little bit, and then I can center this. Click, click. And center this over here. So there's the rule of thirds here. And so now that looks a little cleaner. And if I go here and go here, you'll see how the actual slides, they work together. And that's important in terms of actually presenting the story. It actually allows a lot of continuity to happen inside the actual way a person's receiving it, basically. Now, another thing I want to think about, if you look over here on this left side where actually I have the outline showing. Not sure where the button is for that, but it's in here somewhere. I can actually scroll down here when this all loads up and kind of get an idea of what the whole image looks like. And so when I'm looking at this, I can actually see the different kind of layouts and everything. I can see it more organized as a flow, because you want to look at it like a website. You can just go straight down. I want to see it nice and clean. Even if I duplicate this slide again, I go in here and I replace this image to another image of something of equal spectacularity, awesomeness, and things and stuff. There's a surface, substance paint or surface image. If I want to crop that image, I can actually make it a little, I can move it over here. And so there's that weapon in there. And everything's keeping the same, but even if I want to slide this over here and just give me some visual interest, something that's a little entertaining, I just slide things over here, and it's just real quick. Now, if you think about this, take that into consideration of what I'm talking about in terms of building a card. Uh-oh, it looks like I've added a text. I've done something interesting. Who cares? I love this place. PowerPoint's such a nuisance. But now I can actually go here, 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 and it actually changes it up a little bit, makes it exciting. This is given to me. Exciting change. See? Look at that excitement. Who's not excited already? Now I have a basic idea of what I want. I can actually go into the actual layout. So I think it's the actual... I haven't used the Google one in so long. I can go into themes. That's what I'm looking for, right? Somewhere in here is the themes. Background, layout. There, theme, and then we get this little cool button. And this is where it gets easy to make it look even cooler, because the software will do a lot of work for you. And there's an actually clean, regular, consistent look every time, and I haven't done a whole lot of work. So just kind of look at what's going on here. When you're looking at an image, right click on it and go to crop and see if you can actually change the setup on what's going on. Add more information. What, something about raw should be right here, and should talk about like the ideas of what you're after, the power of the sun, and like the traditional color schemes and this absolutely stupidly cute thing. And then, give me a little idea of what's going on here. Like this one's can be used by any hand. This has different kinds of whatchamacallits. This has the other different kinds of whatchamacallits. And again, same. Give me more information. It's just a couple little blurbs here and there to make the whole thing just tie up a little cleaner. All right. An example, if I can find it quickly. Let's see if I can find an example. I don't have it on this drive. I'll pull a drive up and I'll throw it onto the Discord here in a little bit. But that's the idea. So clean this all up. Kayla, I think yours is good. Just kind of give me some more information. We could probably definitely give me a better closing than thank you and click add text. Maybe even define what the images here, the inspirations were for each one. I like this slide a lot. I like this slide a lot. This one's great. I think this text could be bigger. I want to click on these things, but this works. This is really cool. Good work. Steven, I think you should break these images up a little bit in Photoshop. Take that background out and kind of move these things as individual cards. It'll be a lot cleaner. Takes a little extra work, but you'll like it. Add more. Oh, you're adding more. Sweet. Cool. All right. Well, I'm going to hang this video up and I'll share as soon as it processes.